Occasionally you meet a nice one, but usually they turn out to be some kind of big lizard.
The Skraby Show starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hello and welcome back into a Skraby Show. It's May 1st, 2024, and we are feeling good here in the Odyssey Palace on 97.3 The Fan. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to be having a show tonight until 7, and then also tomorrow night from 6 to 7, we'll have another Skraby Show. So it boosts my confidence a ton when I look into the chat and I look on Twitter and people are like so excited for a Skraby Show. It kind of makes me a little bit nervous that I need to deliver. But who delivered today? I see my smooth transition did not work out. The Padres delivered today. They delivered last night. And I know I'm going to come off like they've won the World Series. I understand that they have not won the World Series. I understand they have a lot more season left. But I got to say, after losing 5 in a row and just being, demolished by Nick Lodolo on Monday night, yesterday during the show, it was not good feels in here. It was not good vibes around Padres world, and Padres fans were not feeling that great. But last night, we talked about it at the beginning of Gwen and Chris, we'll talk about it again tonight. Mike Shildt maybe, and yes, I'm going to be dramatic here, but Mike Shildt maybe had the decision that we'll point to as the one that turned around the year. And I know I'm making a big deal out of this, and I know that I'm making these declarations that this is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to the Padres in 2024. And it may not be, but how can you not think that decision last night by Mike Shildt to allow Manny Machado to bat and take the run off the board did not fuel this team for last night and for today. I absolutely think it showed everyone in that clubhouse Mike Shildt is for real when he says he's going to have his players back. Because if Mike Shildt makes that decision, Manny Machado grounds into a double play, we're all very upset about it. Padres, I don't even know if they win that game last night. Who knows what happens today? But we don't have to talk about that because Mike Shildt made the decision that allowed Manny Machado to clear the bases with that double and launch them into today with a win as well. We have so much to talk about, and I can't wait to get into it. I mean, the double play I was thinking about last night, so I looked it up, and I want to pass it along. Coming into today, the Padres are third in baseball in double plays, hitting into double plays. And so that was part of my thought process last night with Mike Shildt making that decision. It was, man, is he really putting it on the line to either prove something to his team, trying to spark his team, or just he had no other choice but to make that decision, and it worked out for him. But third in baseball in double plays, and we've seen it many times this year. I know I don't need to remind you of that. All right, let's go into the chat. If you would like to watch the show, you can on YouTube or Facebook or X. Just go to 97.3 The Fan on YouTube, 97.3 The Fan SD on X, and you can watch the show. We have Keegan, I think it is. We have Rod, Castro, Anthony, M. McKee, Brandon, Dwayne. We have Dominic. We have Annabelle. We have Benjamin. We have Mailman Rob. We have Roxanne, Dan. Man, you guys are all showing up for me tonight. That is awesome. Prolific is here. This is great. This is great. Thank you to everybody for joining us. Let's see. Roxanne said she totally agrees. Annabelle says, I think all of us who said sign Profar for the vibes deserve some credit. All right. You know what? That's a really good point, Annabelle, because I was one of those people who was like, I don't care if he brings good vibes into the clubhouse. I don't need any of that. I need this team to win. And boy, oh boy, have I been wrong about that. And I'm happy to be wrong about that because Jurickson Profar has been incredible this year. In his last 7 games, he's hitting .519. He has 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 14 hits and 27 at-bats. He's got a 1.3 something OPS. Last 15 games, he's hitting .380 with 8 RBIs and 8 walks. So that's something he's also been doing. His on-base percentage is way up there. Profar, and with his 8-game hitting streak, I feel like he's reverse aging, and he's getting better as time goes on. And I think Tony has said it on the broadcast before that Jurickson Profar is like a fine wine. It's just better as time goes along. And for whatever reason, Chris pointed out what he said to us on the show last week or a couple weeks ago, that, he wasn't tinkering anymore. He was just kind of focused on the day-to-day process. Well, that's what is working for him right now. So I can't wait to see what else he could do this season. And I know I'm shot out of a cannon, everyone. I know I'm shot out of a cannon. And there are some people probably in their cars or listening on YouTube or whatever you're doing right now thinking, great, 2 wins. Whatever, who cares? It's against the Reds. The Reds aren't that good. Well, these 2 wins were very important, and they're important for more than just the win column. They're important for reasons that we've been talking about leading up to last night, and that would be starting pitching struggling. Last night, Yu Darvish comes off the IL. He pitched well last night. At a time, the team absolutely needed a great start from one of their aces. He got it. Yu Darvish I think he only threw 70 pitches last night and went 5 innings. And that is much better than I would have imagined a night you having. Let me start that over. That was a lot better than I thought you was going to do last night because, maybe there's some rust or anything like that, but he knew what was in front of him, and he knew that he had to deliver, and Yu Darvish delivered. And so now we're heading into Joe Musgrove today, and Joe Musgrove today was incredible as well. And one of the things I look for in athletes, I think, is how they bounce back from things. And Joe Musgrove had one of the worst starts of his career on Friday night against the Phillies. Gave up 4 home runs. It was not even close the whole game. It was 9-3 final. And so that's hanging over his head. And he knows that the team needs a win. And today, Joe Musgrove was the Joe Musgrove we know. 9 strikeouts. He did give up that home run, but he locked it down after that. And he kind of had that Joe swagger today, which I love seeing the Joe Musgrove swagger. When he's on, he's really on. And today was a good day for Joe Musgrove. He helped the Padres will themselves to a win today. So good on you, Darvish. Good on Joe Musgrove. Good on Jurickson Profar. Good on Manny Machado, Mike Show, all of that stuff. If you would like to join the show, you can do that by phone, 833-288-0973, or you can go to YouTube and chat in YouTube as well. Bernice says Darvish and Musgrove back on track. I love that. Rod says Padres are road warriors. They need a little break from Petco before LA comes in. Confidence booster, road trip. I agree with that. Castro says Darvish is fire. Let's see. Prolific says Profar had 10 years of experience in going to the Dominican Republic, and working with the Tatises has benefited him, the Padres, and us. That's true. He has. It was a couple. Let's see. It was a couple years ago that he went down there, and then he had that incredible start to the season. I think it was 2 years ago at least, because he played with the Rockies in the beginning of last year. But Jurickson Profar, as Anthony said, vibes are everything. All right. I'm seeing that the audio is a little off. I'm sorry if the audio is a little off. I'm all in here by myself, and so I will have to check that in the break. But Chris he didn't really steal my thunder, but he kind of did steal my thunder when he was talking about someone that needs to, maybe a decision that's not the right decision for the team right now. And so Graham Pauley, I don't want to pile on any more than we already have, but I had the same thoughts as Chris. And when I saw the lineup today come out and Graham Pauley's in the lineup, I was like, why? And I understand what they're trying to do. He's up here at the big league level, so why not throw him in the fire and see what he can do? But it just doesn't seem like he's there yet. And as a guy who never played professional baseball, it's weird for me to say, but I think we can all kind of see it. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to be a good hitter later in the year or a good player overall. It just means that Major League Baseball pitching is really, really difficult to hit. And I can only point to maybe three swings that were swings I thought were good swings. And again, I've never played professional baseball, but it was the home run off of Camilo Duvall. It was the home run off of Aaron Nola. And then also it was in the game, I think it was the first inning or second inning against Aaron Nola, maybe even the third. I don't remember. But it was on Friday night, and he hit it to the fence where I thought it was out. So those are like, it's never really a good thing when you can remember well hit balls on one hand. Yeah, one hand, yes. Three well hit balls in my mind. But I really think that he's going to figure it out at some point. But I don't know if the level he's at right now is the right level for that. Let's see here. Adrian Morihone, he, according to Photo Guy Mark, he's looked amazing up until last night. You know, Morihone is an interesting guy for me because he's a lefty. He could throw hard. And if Chris was here, sometimes I say things and then Chris gets in my head and I'm like, oh, Chris would say this. But Chris would be like, everybody could throw hard at Major League Baseball. But we've seen Morihone do great things. And we see him struggle. He's also got some arm injuries in the past. So I'm looking for him to pick it up a little bit. Last night was not his best night, which we all saw, but it didn't matter because Padres ended up winning. I don't know that that's our biggest problem right now. I think the biggest problem at the moment would be just 2 games is not going to solve the offensive issues. So we got to see this keep going throughout the rest of, throughout May and see where it goes from there. So if you have any thoughts on this team, if you have any thoughts on Hassan Kim and how he's hitting right now and how he's playing, give me a call, 833-288-0973. If you have any thoughts about the upcoming series against the Diamondbacks, give me a call, 833-288-0973. And if you would like to, someone told me one time, I love the YouTube chat because I'm too nervous to call in and give my opinion so I can chat it and, it's not as nerve-wracking for me. So if you are one of those people, please go to our YouTube chat, 97.3 The Fan, go to the live show, and you will see it broadcasting right now. All right. When we get back, I am going to talk about, why Manny Machado is going to be okay. I wanted to phrase that correctly. He's going to be okay, and it's not because of the numbers on his baseball card or on the back of his baseball card. I'm not going to go down that road. I'm going to use some other stats. Also, I found another team who may have had a tougher loss than the Padres have experienced this year. So stick with me. We'll get to that. And then at the end, of course, our daily gripe. And I think I got a good one. It's something to do with radio. So I will let you all know when we get back. Well, that would be at the end of the show. But when we get back, we're talking Manny Machado when we're talking about that team who may have had a tougher loss than the Padres this year on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan.
Listen to your favorite
Matt Skraby back with you here, Odyssey Palace, 97.3 The Fan. The Skraby Show for the first time in a long time. I can't even actually remember the last time we did this. We'll have another one tomorrow night. And then next week, if I'm looking at the calendar real quick, they're in Chicago. And so it might be a little tough next week. Oh, well, on Thursday we'll have a Skraby Show, possibly even a Wednesday. Okay, so never mind. We're going to have some Skraby Shows next week. We got some callers on the line, so stay right there. I'm going to tell you about the team that may have had a worse loss than the Padres this year. I'm also going to tell you about Manny Machado and why he's going to be okay, and it's not because of the numbers on the back of his baseball card. And I just got to get the video back on. There we go. If you want to watch, you can go to YouTube, 97.3 The Fan, or Facebook, or the Odyssey app. I never mentioned the Odyssey app, which I should mention the Odyssey app. But the team that had a tougher loss than the Padres, I think this is a tougher loss. This definitely qualifies as a tougher loss. But Jack Flaherty yesterday for the Tigers against the Cardinals, they had a doubleheader. So he pitched the first game of the doubleheader. He went 6 2/3. He only gave up 2 hits, had 1 walk, no runs, and he struck out 14 hitters in 6 2/3 yesterday. 14 hitters! Well, they were going into the top of the 9th inning because they were at home. They were up 1-0. They just needed 3 outs to close out the game. And guess what? Cardinals win 2-1. So that's got to be a worse loss, right? That has to be a worse loss because he struck out 14 6 2/3. I mean, we talk about it all the time here. When are they going to pick up their pitcher? Today, Joe Musgrove. I really was happy to see the offense pick up Joe Musgrove today and Jake Cronenworth hitting that grand slam because that was much needed for Joe, much needed for this team. And how many times have we seen Padres load the bases so far this year? And only twice there's been a, I don't want to call it a grand slam home run because Chris might be listening. He might run back in here. But only twice the grand slam this year. So good stuff. Manny Machado, on the other hand, I was looking through. I've really become like a huge, I'm just going to say the word, a huge baseball savant nerd. And I just look around all the different statistics. I look around all the different things that they offer. But and I've been talking to a lot of baseball people to ask them, like, what should I be paying attention to most? And no one said that this is the most I should be paying attention to, this next stat. But they say it's important, and that would be exit velocity. And when you look at Manny Machado, you're seeing his exit velocity is still there. He's still able to hit the ball hard in 125 at bats this year. He's hit the ball. He put the ball in play over 100 miles an hour 30 times. So that tells me that he's seeing the ball well. That tells me that he's hitting the ball well. And today, when he hit that one in the first inning, it was definitely out. Now, I looked on StatCast, and that was a 403-foot hit for Manny Machado. And Stuart Fairchild just went up and got it. Like, one of the best catches I've ever seen in person. But that shows me that Manny is still hitting the ball well. And yes, there is some bad luck involved in that. If we look back to last night, Ellie De La Cruz, if he's 6'4", I don't know if he makes that catch where Manny hit it right back up the middle. But Ellie De La Cruz is 6'6", and he was able to snow cone the ball. And those, because I don't buy the bad luck thing all the time, but that to me is bad luck. Manny getting robbed of a home run today is bad luck because that should have been out. That was a 3-run home run. Stuart Fairchild just made an incredible catch. And then when you go look at Manny's spray chart for 2024, if you look at all of his home runs, he hit all of his home runs so far this season to left field and 1 to left center. 3 of his doubles to right field, and then he has singles all over the field. So he's hitting to every spot on the field. He's not just staying in one part of the field. Manny Machado is going to be fine. He's going to. Roxanne said it. Like Manny said, that's baseball. Let's see. Let's go back to the chat real quick because I saw some good stuff on here. And again, I am by myself. So this is how sometimes the Skraby Show goes. Taylor says, it is funny. I got Profar for my fantasy team, and that is the best decision I have ever made. Yeah, right now that thing is working out. Why are we talking about Seth Lugo in the chat? Yes, he is dealing. Apparently, he went 7 innings, he struck out 8, and he's got a 1.39 ERA. Yeah, that kind of hurts, I gotta say. That kind of hurts. All right, let's go to the phones. And we're going to go to Kathy. Kathy, you are on. Thanks for calling. How's it going?
If I get a little badly, it's because this is 11 of 12 days straight working, so I'm a little tired.
Oh, gosh.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm exhausted, dude. I'm not really worried about Manny because people forget that he just came back from surgery.
Yeah, that's
so
true. Yeah,
I didn't expect him to come out of the box, hitting like he did last year.
True.
And wasn't it Tony that said when you're not playing your position, just being a DH, some guys aren't built for that.
Yes.
He needs to be back at third base full time to really kind of start hitting like he used to.
Yeah, Manny said that it's not playing baseball if you're just hitting. You have to play both sides.
Right.
So, but thank you, Kathy, for the phone call. And make sure you get home safe, Kathy. That is a good point, and I forgot to bring that up, honestly, so thank you for bringing that up, Kathy. But I was thinking about this on the drive home last night. I was thinking, Manny has, I guess we kind of forgot that he was injured and forgot about his elbow because he hasn't really said anything about it. And I know that it's right there in front of us because he hasn't been playing third base, but still. Manny Machado made it back to made it back for the beginning of the season when none of us thought that was going to be none of us thought he was going to be there for the first game of the season, but he was. And so we need to give him some time. I know I don't like saying that, but it's true. Dominic says Manny is a historically slow starter. I agree with that. Everybody's trying to find me a producer on the chat. Thank you. Prolific says, remember, it is May. Yes, it is May. I get it. I try to stay calm, but when they lose 5 in a row and they just get demolished by Lodolo, I was a little panicked yesterday. All right, we're going to go to our next caller, Kevin in Chula Vista. Kevin, how are you doing?
Hey, Mr. Matt. So getting back to pro, well, what do you do if he has a great all-star year? He's on a 1-year contract, correct?
Yes.
I suspect pro's going to come back and he's going to want a whole lot of money next year.
It's funny you say that, Kevin, because we were going to talk about that on the show tomorrow, but it's a very good thought. I mean, I think, what do you think that they would do with him? Do you think that they would let him walk, or do you think that they would pay him?
Well, it's really hard to say, Matt, with this new rendition of the ownership group, because this is a group now that will not put up the money to get an actual threat at DH in the lineup, which I think would help everybody, including Manny Machado, to have someone that an opposing pitcher has to account for. And right now, with the lack of slug on this team,
Uh-oh. Oh, there he is.
That's I don't get it. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they would do. This is a whole different era that we're in without a lot of explanation as to what happened and why.
Mm-hmm.
So your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, and thank you for the call, Kevin. That's a good thought because, Adam and I were talking about it at the park, and like I said, we were going to talk about it on the show tomorrow, and I know that Tony and Chris aren't going to want to talk about that aspect, but I don't care. I'm going to make them talk about it, even if I have to put it in the Big Five. But Profar, he's playing for $1 million this year, and it does seem like the Padres are very happy with Profar playing for $1 million this year. If he has this all-star year, I mean, it's a good problem to have because that means that the team has been successful. But I also agree with Kevin that they need another bat in this lineup. And I don't know if it's Donovan Solano, and I don't know. Someone suggested someone to me in the chat earlier. I believe his name is Mike Ford. I think he just got released by the team he was on. But I'm looking at Mike Ford's stats. I'm not really seeing anything that's great. He's a career, he's a career 211 hitter. He's 100 OPS plus, but I don't know where they're going to find the DH for this team. And maybe they already kind of are thinking that their DH position is not going to be their strongest position this year. And I don't know how you can. I'm trying to think because Profar, as I said, he's getting better with age, but at the same time, guys fall off as they get older. So it's one of those decisions that you're going to have to make. Do you reward a player for what he's done, or are you going to pay a player for what you think he's going to do? And with what the Padres are doing right now in the payroll department, I think that they're going to probably not give him the contract that he probably deserves and is looking for. But again, we're talking about this a little bit too early. We have to see how the rest of the year goes. But on the other hand, if you're talking about Ha-Seong Kim and what we were saying before the year, that maybe they need to trade him because they're not going to be able to re-sign him, and they're probably not going to be able to get him back at the $8 million or the $7 million that he's making. But he hasn't had the best year. So a good problem to have with Profar and a good problem to have with Ha-Seong Kim, I think, in a strange roundabout way, because Kim might not be demanding all of the money that he could have demanded before the year, and he's not as valuable as a trade bait, for lack of a better term. So the Padres are going to have to deal with two contract situations now that we're talking about it. We're going to deal with Jurickson Profar, we're going to deal with Ha-Seong Kim and others, but right now Jurickson Profar should be paid $20 million a year, I think. I mean, it's really interesting to me that Jurickson Profar took $1 million to be on this team, and now all of a sudden he is playing like he's playing, and he's got to keep it up. That's a really complicated, loaded question about Jurickson Profar, but it's a good one. And I can't sit here and say, don't re-sign him. He's not going to be worth it, because I said that before the year and look what happened. But at the same time, I don't want to go into next year and have a Profar that's hitting 220 when he's being paid $15 million. But we're getting ahead of ourselves at this point. All right. Let's go back to the chat real quick, because Keegan said Profar making a statement the way he has been playing this season. Yes, he has been making a statement. Lots of Kevin and Chula Vista comments saying that was a good call. I think it was a good call. Let's see. Roland says Profar loves being here and it reflects on the field. I think he'd take a deal that keeps him here. I wouldn't complain either. If he took a deal that keeps him here. Mailman Rob, people complain about Kim batting low in the lineup, but he's not producing like last season. He doesn't deserve to hit any higher. I agree. Kim is struggling. I don't know his exact numbers right now, but Kim is absolutely 100% struggling. All right, we're going to go to break real quick. I have two of you on the phones. Stay right there. I will get to you when we get back. I also had this whole thing planned where I was going to do a Skraby deep dive into AJ Preller's trade history. But I'm going to hold that until maybe tomorrow, because there's too many fun things to talk about. I also have the stat from the last night's Rockies and Marlins game that is pretty crazy as well. So stay on the phone if you want to join us, 833-288-0973, or you can go to the YouTube, just search 97.3 The Fan. Back soon here on the Skraby Show on 97.3 The Fan.
The biggest
Yes, I'm on. Sorry about that, everybody. I didn't know that I was on. It didn't sound like I was on. Daily Gripe is going to explain a little bit about why I say that right now. That's very confusing and doesn't help anyone at all. But there you go. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Skraby Show here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres, 2-game winning streak. I know, I'm getting a little excited. I know. Because there's still a lot of season to go. But why can't we just enjoy these 2 days? Why can't we just do that? If you want to watch the show, the last 20 minutes of it or so, you can go to YouTube, type in 97.3 The Fan, or you can go to my social media at Matt Skraby and find out there. Now, or find it there. Now, I wanted to talk about t-shirts because that is something that I have been asked about many times, and I appreciate everybody asking, and I want to get these t-shirts out there. I am working on it. I promise everybody will know exactly as soon as I know, because I want to do this right, and I have an idea of what I want to do it for. I want to do it for a good cause. So it will happen. It will it might just take a little bit longer. So please bear with me. They will be there, and I will appreciate all of you. And it's going to go to a good cause. I will announce all that when I have it all figured out. Random Ham says, 2-game winning streak after Skraby did the impossible and won the Fantabulous Sports Game Show. That is 100% correct, Random Ham. I love Random Ham's name. But yesterday I beat Tony, fair and square, did the impossible. Water found its level yesterday. So there you go. I'm doing my best to get the Padres back on track. All right, before we go back to talking about the Padres, last night's Rockies and Marlins game was historic for one reason, and it wasn't because there was very little people there. There's like 6,000 people there. It didn't even look like there were 6,000 people there. But what was historic about it was a note from the Elias Sports Bureau, because the Rockies scored 5 runs in the first inning, and then let me just read the stat. I'm gonna mess it up. Let me just read it. This game, Rockies Marlins, is the only game in ALNL history since 1901 in which 5+ runs were scored in the top of the first, and 5+ runs were scored in the bottom of the ninth, and none in between. So bookending with 5+ run innings, and the Rockies were on their way to a win. Didn't happen. The Marlins ended up walking it off. So it's kind of interesting. I mean, with 1,500 people there, they witnessed history. That's exactly what happened. They witnessed a little bit of history. David says, win 2, lose 3, win 3, lose 3. That's the season for us. David, I am with you. And so that's why I'm trying to, as excited as I am about the last couple games for the Padres, I'm also trying to remember that, because it's true. It does seem like this season and last season, when they take a couple steps forward, they take more steps back. If they take 2 steps forward, they take 3 back. And that's the next real hurdle for this team. For some reason, it took till September last year to at least win 4 games in a row. This year, they have not won 4 games in a row yet. And for some reason, that is a tough plateau or not plateau, but that's a tough milestone to reach, is the 4 games. I really think that if they can win this next one in Arizona, and the offense can show up like it has the last, at least today, and in last night, we'll say, in the win, then I feel like maybe some demons were exercised. And let's point all the way back. And Lloyd just said what I'm about to say on the chat. He said the stones Coach Mike had last night. Yes, the stones that Mike Schilt had last night, I believe, pushed this team to a point where they had to deliver for him. And Chris sold me on it, because last night, watching the game, knowing how much this team struggles to score runs at this moment in the season, taking a run off the board was a fireable offense in my eyes. I was like, really? You're going to take a run off the board when Manny Machado has been hitting into double plays, and he hasn't had the best luck this year? he's made a lot of outs, but Mike Schilt had the faith in his superstar. And what did we say yesterday? The superstar's got a superstar, and that was a superstar moment. And the whole is Manny clutch thing. At times I don't know that he's clutch. But then there are other times when he needs to deliver, and last night was that, and he did. So hopefully that gets Manny going. And I know I've said that a couple times this year, but I really do feel like Mike showed his team that he will do as he says, and he will take that team and always defend his players, and he will do what's best for his players, and that goes a long way with guys in the clubhouse. David says that's a 500 ball club. Check the record. I understand, David. I understand. I don't think that because they've won these last 2 games, they're now going to win 100 games. I am very excited. Yes, I'm having fun talking about a couple big wins. Yes, but the forecast, the outlook for this season is yet to be determined, and they can only build on this. And I guess here's where I come from, because I didn't grow up with baseball in my household. I kind of had to follow or find baseball myself. I played baseball. I know all about baseball. But growing up, my dad, my family, even my extended family, we just were not a baseball family. So I did not grow up with the baseball mindset of be patient, be patient, be patient. So I'm trying to develop the patience for that. And I'm trying to actually celebrate things that need to be celebrated, and then talk about things that, are bad and need to be talked about. And so that's what you're going to get here. And I'm choosing to live in the positive side of the world, because I lived so long in the negative side of the world. And that would be when I was a drinker. I don't drink anymore. It's been over 7 years. So I have a better outlook on things. And that's why I have this outlook with the Padres. Now, am I saying you're wrong for feeling like, man, this dude on the radio right now is completely ignoring what has happened up until this point? I can understand why you think that. And I can understand why you are not sold on this team and you're not back all in on this team like I'm sounding right now. I can understand that, because there are a lot of Padres fans out there that have lived this many, many, many years, and they have seen things happen in many, many, many different seasons. So I can't tell you not to feel that way. However, I did see something from this team in the last couple days when even I was criticizing the lack of effort. Not the lack of effort. I was criticizing the lack of focus during Monday night's game when they were just getting crushed by Nick Lodolo and the Reds. Let's see. Annabelle says we don't need more negativity than the team is already giving us sometimes. It's okay to enjoy wins. Hey, Dan, don't tell David to go away. David is allowed to be here. David, I want everybody to be able to be in the Skraby Show world and have the opinion. As long as it's not hateful, you can have your own opinion, and you can be someone who is not going to take this, is not going to take these last 2 wins and think that the season is completely turned around. But I will take these last 2 wins, head into an off day, and feel good about myself and about the team. I will. What are we going to do tomorrow? I mean, it's so hard when there's not. Well, like when I get into baseball season, I am, all right, baseball every single day. I know what I'm doing when I go home at night. Playing with Lucky, even though he rolled in poop this morning, and he did it on the Instagram Live. I'll talk about that in just a second, but I forgot where I was going. Now I went on Lucky and Instagram Live, and I forgot where I was going. So I'll just go with the Instagram Live. But if my Instagram at Matt Skraby, sometimes when I go to the dog park, either Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, I jump on Instagram Live and we talk about the Padres. So, and Lucky today was rolling in dog poop. Roxanne says, it irks me so much when people on social media say these players don't care. You know what, Roxanne? It irks me too, because I know that they do care. And I know that sometimes people don't actually mean that they don't care. I would tell you if I thought a player didn't care. But this is not that team. These guys do definitely care. And I was actually talking to someone today in the press box about Joe Musgrove, and about some of the opinion out there is that Joe Musgrove took the bag and he doesn't care anymore. And this person knows Joe very well, and this person spends time around Joe, and they said that couldn't be further from the truth, because Joe Musgrove wants to deliver for this city. So get behind Joe. Get behind him. He pitched really, really well today. Awful Waffle is back. Just dropping in after a delivery. I understand pumping the brakes on getting too excited, but always finding something to be cautious about this early in the season doesn't seem like a great time. Take the wins as they come and hope for the best. I agree, because some of these losses that the Padres have had are heartbreaking. But if they're going to win these games, and Jake Cronenworth is going to win it or hit a grand slam to put them up 6-2 in the 7th inning, I believe it was, then I'm going to celebrate that for now. Celebrate that for now. There's too many depressing things happening in the world. Yes, my dog rolled in poop. He always does. It's the most annoying thing in the world. That's not my daily gripe, though, I promise. Because I don't know what his deal is. My dog is a golden retriever husky named Lucky. He's like 95 pounds. He's massive. And he punches me all the time. Like in the morning when he wants to get up, he just kind of punches me in the side. Says, "Get up, bro." But he loves to find coyote excrement and roll around in it. He wants to smell like them, apparently. Patrick and Annie, even the very, very best teams lose around 60 games, and some of those are to bad teams. It's baseball. It is baseball. But I understand why the sky can be falling for some. The sky can feel like it's falling sometimes. Annabelle says, is it better to roll in the coyote poop or eat the horse poop? Yes, he's done that too. I don't know. Oh, maybe that's a daily gripe, actually. Maybe because the other day I was driving home and I was driving through a part of town that has a lot of horses. And there was this horse crossing the street. Yes, a horse crossed the street. And it just like went to the bathroom in the street. And so we have to go drive over that now? I know this is not time for the daily gripe, but come on. Come on. Why don't they have to clean up that stuff? Let's see. Roxanne, it's time for this team to roll. Rolling. Keep these hits coming. I agree. Random Ham says Lucky is establishing dominance within the local wildlife. I don't know if you've ever seen Lucky, but he's a big dude, but he's kind of like me. He's a big old teddy bear. Do you think the horse is going to hold it until he crosses the street? No. I don't think the horse is just going to hold it until it crosses the street, but I don't also think I need to run over all the horse stuff. Now we're going off on a whole different horse poop, driving over the horse poop talk. Horses do it, no problem. Human does it, not cool. It's very true. I mean, I don't want to see a human. But a horse walking across the street, just doing its thing, not my favorite. Definitely not my favorite. All right, let's recap everything we've talked about tonight before we get to the daily gripe. We talked about Yu Darvish and how he absolutely needed to deliver, and he did last night, going 5 innings, getting the team in a place where they could win. Joe Musgrove needed to deliver today. He absolutely did deliver today, and he went 6 innings. That's another thing I wanted to mention. Joe only had 87 pitches today, 59 of those strikes, so he didn't max out his arm today, which is awesome. And Joe Musgrove will be ready to go. 87 pitches or 59 strikes, very good for Joe Musgrove. He's been struggling with the zone this year. He's been struggling with command, so good to see that he did not walk any batters today, and he struck out 9. Did give up that home run in the first, but, that's going to happen. Jurickson Profar went 4 for 4 today. He's hitting .342 on the year. We also talked about Mike Schilt and why his move last night may be the move that's going to turn this team around for the rest of the season. And yes, I know that's dramatic, but I already went over that. And I'm going to be dramatic about it because I think it was that big of a deal to show his team that he's willing to take the criticism of the entire San Diego County for putting a run or for taking a run off the board and letting Manny say ground into a double play. That would have been a whole different thing, but Mike Schilt didn't care. He did it anyway, and it worked out for him. I think that's a pretty good recap for now.
What's annoying Skraby today? Let's find out. It's time for the Daily Gripe.
I know, I went a little too hard in the paint on the horse stuff. Sorry. All right, my Daily Gripe today is when I have to use these studio headphones that I have right now. I forgot my earbuds at home. And I gotta say, I'm kind of a germaphobe. And wearing the studio headphones makes me gag a little bit. It's really gross to me. I don't know why I'm a germaphobe like I am, but everybody wears these headphones. I usually wipe them off before I put them on. I'm going to wipe them off before I leave the room. But everything sounds weird to me. And I know that like 800 people have probably worn these headphones since the station started. Gross. Gross, 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 gross. Roxanne says, I saw someone backing into a parking spot and automatically thought of you, Scrabe. Thank you. And just know I'm very angry. All right. Roundtable tomorrow at 10 a.m. Skraby Show back tomorrow at 6 p.m. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for joining me.
San Diego, you looking for local